Good day to our senior high school learners and to our social science enthusiasts. I am Sir Edward and welcome to another topic for our subject UCSP, Understanding Society, Culture, and Politics. For today's topic, we will discuss the evolution and the human prehistory. This is lesson number 4 for our subject UCSP. For this particular topic, we will discuss two important lessons. The first part of our discussion would be the human biological evolution, and the second part of our discussion would be the prehistoric human achievements. The first part of our discussion is the human biological evolution. This particular topic, the human biological evolution, is more of a review or refresher of your previous discussion on your topic in Aralin Panlipunan and even in science in the junior high school. This topic is important for us to understand the development of humankind and the development of society, for us to understand more the dynamics of society. Let us define some important terminologies related to our topic. First is the biological evolution. It refers to the changes, modifications, and variations in the genetics and inherited traits of biological populations from one generation to another. Second important terminology is the cultural evolution, or also known as socio-cultural evolution. It refers to the changes or development in cultures from a simple form to a more complex form of human culture. Basically, cultural evolution is the idea that the human culture, like beliefs, knowledge, customs, skills, attitudes, and even languages, change over time. Sociocultural evolution happens because of the human adaptation to different factors like climatic changes and even population increase. Now, speaking of evolution, the best person to discuss this particular concept is Charles Darwin through his evolution theory. The evolution theory states that all forms of life started from simple forms and transformed to a complex ones. It refers to the physical transformation of the modern humans from hominids into thinking modern humans, or also known as the Homo sapien. It was introduced by the naturalist and biologist known for his theory of evolution and the process of natural selection, none other than Charles Darwin, who is known as the father of evolution. In his published work on the origins of species by means of natural selection, he devoted his time to study the evolution of animals and even of the humankind. The biological evolution is based on the theory of evolution by Charles Darwin. Darwin introduced the concept of evolution to explain the origins of modern humans. According to him, evolution happens through the process of natural selection. When we say natural selection, it is a process through which certain environmentally biological features are perpetuated at the expense of less adaptive features. For us to understand more the concept of natural selection by Charles Darwin, let us discuss the principles of natural selection. We have three principles on this particular concept. The first principle of natural selection is variation. Every species is made up of a variety of individuals, with some better adapted to their environments compared with others. Second is inheritance. Organisms produce offspring with different set of traits that can be inherited. And the third principle is survival of the fittest. Organisms that have traits most suitable to their environment will survive, and these variations are passed on to their offspring in subsequent generation. Now, for us to understand more the concept of natural selection, we have here the example of the cases of giraffes. As we all know, giraffes that we know as of the moment, or as of the present time, is known for having long necks. But based on the studies of scientists, giraffes before the neck of giraffes before are not that long. And therefore, the long neck of giraffes that we know right now is a process of repeated stretching and repeated adaptation to their environment. So therefore, we can say or we can infer that giraffe's neck results from repeated natural selection. Long-necked giraffes were more likely to survive hard times compared with short-necked rivals. Therefore, we can conclude that the ability of an organism or the ability of a species to survive on their environment is based on their ability to adapt to their environment. When we say natural selection class, it is the nature or the environment has its natural way or natural mechanism of selecting species organisms that can survive, and they can only survive if that organism or species learn how to adapt based on their environment. So therefore, adaptation is essential for survival. For archaeologists, artifacts and fossils are important source of information in the reconstruction of human evolution. So let us discuss now the biological and cultural evolution of modern humans. So in this particular part, we will discuss the importance of fossils and artifacts. Let us define those important terminologies. First is fossils. It refers to the human, plant, and animal remains that have been preserved through time, like human or animal teeth, skull, and bone fragments. Second is artifacts. It refers to objects that were made and used by humans. For example, stone tools, metal tools, ceramics, earthenware, burial jars, and even ornaments. Let us now discuss with the evolution of the humankind. First on the list, let us discuss the concept of the hominid. Hominid is the general term used by scientists to categorize the group of early humans and other human-like creatures that can walk erect during the prehistoric times. So we have here an image of a hominid. Australopithecus is considered as the first stage of human evolution, also known as the pre-human stage of evolution, and Homo is considered as the last stage, also known as the human stage of the human evolution. We have here Ardipithecus. Ardipithecus means ape on the ground. So what are the characteristics of Ardipithecus? First, they have small brain. Second, they're known to be biped. When we say biped, it is the ability to walk on two legs or feet, from the word bi, which means two, and ped or pedal, which means legs or feet. Third, they can live in jungles and forests like the chimpanzees. They have skull size similar to an ape, and they have a height of about 4 feet. For us to understand more this particular concept of bipedalism, bipedalism again is the ability of an organism or the ability of a species to walk with the use of its 2 feet or 2 legs. And this particular concept of bipedalism changed the course of history. Before, as we all know, the early human beings or the hominid, they are known to walk, diba, with the support of their legs, diba? But when the early human beings learn how to adapt with their environment, and when the early human beings learn how to walk with the use of their 2 legs or their 2 feet, which we call as bipedalism, it changes the way the early human beings live. It changed the lifestyle of the early human beings. They learn it changed their physical characteristics. It even changed their mental capabilities. It even changed their the social development or social aspect of living during those time. So therefore, we can say that the ability of the early human being to walk with the use of their 2 legs or bipedalism changed the course of history. First, by changing their physical characteristics, thus changing their mental capabilities, and it also changed the social landscape of the people during those times. Next is the Australopithecus, or also known as the southern ape. The Australopithecus, or the southern ape, lived in the African jungle from 5 million to 1 million years ago. So we have here the image of an Australopithecus, or also known as the southern ape. They were known to be they were known as the southern ape because basically, according to some fossils, according to some scientists, rather, their fossils was discovered on the continent of Africa. And Africa is considered in world history as the cradle of humankind, wherein the fossils of the early human beings were discovered. Let's go back to the characteristics of the Australopithecus. Number two, they have the brain size, one-third size of the modern human brain. Number three, they are more upright in terms of their posture. Number four, they are biped. When we say biped again, the ability to walk with the use of their 2 feet or 2 legs. Number four, they learn how to live in small groups. Number six, they are food scavenger, meaning they basically depend more on their environment. Number seven, what are their diet? They eat insects, eggs, plants, fruits, and sometimes meat. And number eight, they use sticks and stones for digging. Next is the Australopithecus afarensis. The Australopithecus afarensis is considered as the common ancestor of the Australopithecus species. The 3.2 million years old Australopithecus afarensis fossil is named as Lucy. It is considered as one of the modern humans' earliest ancestors and remains as the most famous hominid fossil discovered. Lucy was discovered in Hadar, Ethiopia in 1974 by paleoanthropologists led by Dr. Donald Johnson. Fun fact for Lucy, it was named Lucy because during those time, according to some historians, the archaeologists excavating the site where Lucy was discovered, they're playing this particular Beatles song named Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. As we all know, during the 1970s, the boy band Beatles was popular then. And they named the discovery, the fossil as Lucy from the name Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. So, fun fact for that particular topic. Next, we have the Homo habilis, or also known as the handyman. They are considered as direct ancestor of the modern human because of their ability to produce tools. Therefore, they were known as the handyman. They were able to fashion different tools with the use of their hands. What are the characteristics of the Homo habilis? They have three main or defining characteristics. First, their height is around 3 to 4 feet. Their brain size is somewhat developed compared with the Australopithecus because their brain size is half the size of the modern human. And lastly, they use tools for hunting and for food gathering. Next is the Homo erectus, or also known as the upright man, from the word erectus, from the word erect, which means upright. What are the characteristics of the Homo erectus? First, the brain size is about 2/3 of the modern human brain size. Their height is about 5 feet. They can walk upright. They are also known for making much complex tools. They are also considered as skillful hunters. They were also the first Homo species to use fire and to live in caves. Number 7, they were also the first Homo to use spoken language. And number 8, they were also the first Homo to leave the continent of Africa. Some of the examples of Homo erectus in our country is we have the discovery of the tabon man. The tabon man is considered as the oldest and confirmed modern human in the Philippines dating back 16,500 years ago or roughly 14,000 before the Common Era. In 1958, Dr. Robert Fox, 1918 to 1985, an American anthropologist and leading historian of the National Museum of the Philippines, discovered in the Lipuon Point Reservation in Tabon Caves Complex in the southern part of Palawan, discovered the skull cap of the Tabon man. And basically, this particular fossil is considered as the oldest confirmed modern human species in our country. Another important milestone in terms of discovery of human fossils in our country is the discovery of the Homo lucenensis. This was excavated in 2007 in Callao Cave in Peña Blanca, Cagayan Valley, Philippines by an international multidisciplinary team led by Dr. Arman Salvador Mijares, an archaeologist from the University of the Philippines and a National Geographic grantee. It was named Homo lucenensis after the country's biggest island of Luzon, where it was recovered. In 2019, after the discovery of more specimens, they were placed into a new species based on the presence of a wide range of traits similar to modern humans as well as Australopithecus and the early Homo. And lastly, we proceed now with the Homo sapien, also known as the thinking man. It is considered as the modern humans. Species where all modern humans belong to. What are the characteristics? They have a larger brain size which is almost similar to the brain of the modern humans. They lived in shelters. They are gatherers. They eat plants and fruits and they even hunt animals. So their diet is considered much diverse compared with their early predecessors. Number 5, they learned to gather and cook. Number 6, they learned how to craft metals. Example of the Homo sapien is the Cro-Magnon, or also known as the Homo sapiens sapiens. So we have here the comparison of the physical appearance in terms of height and the size of brain of the early human beings. So, as you may notice, from the Australopithecus afarensis up to Homo sapien, there is a gradual development in terms of height. Again, their posture also improved through the years, as well as the development in terms of the size of their brain. Meaning, as the brain of the human person develop, they develop skills, competencies, and it also improve their level of intelligence. When their level of intelligence improve, it can also benefit on the improvement of their society. The second part of our discussion is the prehistoric human achievements. Basically, for this particular topic, it is somehow similar or more of a refresher of your discussion in your grade 8 Araling Panlipunan or Social Studies class when you were in junior high school. The prehistoric period is divided into different timeline. The first part of the prehistoric period is what we call as the Paleolithic period. The Paleolithic period is also known in history as the Old Stone Age. In this particular period, humans use stones found in nature. They use rough stones for tools and weapons. They produce fire by rubbing two stones together. Perhaps one of the most important milestone or considered as a game changer or one of the most important event in the history of mankind is the discovery of fire. The discovery of fire changes everything in the human history. It changes everything on human development. Imagine what would happen to us if fire was not discovered. Perhaps we would be still living in the dark. If fire was not discovered, perhaps we would not be able to change our diet. Perhaps we're still on that particular age wherein we consume meat which is considered raw, uncooked, and it may be contaminated. Because of fire, human beings learn how to cook and therefore it changed their diet, it changed their appearance, it improved their physical appearance, their mental capabilities. Because of fire, communities were developed because it able to gather people within the particular community or society. So therefore, we can conclude that the discovery of fire is considered as one of the greatest feat of the human civilization. Number three, monumental cave paintings and engravings were found. This only prove that early human beings were considered as creative and artistic during those times. Number four, there was early use of language from the fact that humans traversed large swaths of land, established settlement, they created tools, traded, and instituted social hierarchies and culture. There was absolute dependence on nature. So basically, during the Paleolithic period, they're more of dependent on on the environment. Their main source of living is hunting and gathering. And lastly, they settle on caves, rock shelters near water source, which serve as their houses. The second period is what we call as the Neolithic period, or also known as the New Stone Age. In this particular period, the early human beings learn how to use more refined and more smooth stone tools compared with the Paleolithic period. So as what we have mentioned, they used polished and bladed stones. They started agriculture and established settlement in permanent villages. If the discovery of fire is considered as the greatest discovery of the Paleolithic period, the meanwhile, the discovery of agriculture is considered as the greatest discovery of the Neolithic period. Because of the discovery of agriculture, people during those time learned uh, to to have a permanent settlement. They are no longer dependent on the environment. Meaning they learn how to domesticate animals, they learn how to plant crops and vegetable, and therefore we have an increase on the surplus of food on the food supply of a particular community. So again, the agriculture is considered as the most important discovery and contribution of the Neolithic period. As what we have mentioned a while ago, during the Neolithic period, domestication of animals happened. Early men moved out of caves and went out to the coast. There was the appearance of crops such as pottery and weaving. And they had permanent homes usually made of timber and mud bricks. Next is the Metal Age. They began continuously to produce metals. It changes in settlement organization, ritual life, and interaction between the societies were also evident. They showed signs of being dependent on rivers as primary source of food. For the Metal Age, this is divided into three sub-stages or sub-period. The first one is what we call as the Copper Age. During the Copper Age, they used copper for jewelry and weapons, and the art of smelting and molding copper was also developed. The second stage of the Metal Age is what we call as the Bronze Age. Combining copper, tin, and bronze was done during this particular age to make more durable weapons. The wheel and the ox-drawn plow were also invented during the Bronze Age. And lastly, for the last stage of the Metal Age, we have the Iron Age. Metals replaced bronze in making weapons. Iron was found to be the strongest metal among the three. The export of knowledge of iron metallurgy and of iron objects was rapid and widespread. Iron was used for making weapons, putting arms in the hands of the masses. So therefore, we can say that with the continuous development and improvement of technology of the early human beings, it led to the growth and development of their community, of their society, which leads to the development of civilization. Therefore, we can say on a nutshell, one of the most important key takeaway for our lesson is that adaptation is essential for survival. Just for example, what happened to our ancestors, di ba? If they were not able to adapt to the different to their environment, they would not be able to survive, just like with the concept of natural selection by Charles Darwin. And so goes with the continuous development of the human being based on the prehistoric development and prehistoric achievements. So therefore, in this modern time, it is important for all of us to continuously adapt, be more flexible, and learn how to adjust on our environment. Always remember that when we adapt, we tend to survive based on the different challenges that we encounter. So I hope that you learned something from our topic for today. See you again next time for new learnings and new discoveries as we discuss and understand more culture, society, and politics. This has been Sir Edward Noda. Have a great day and stay safe always.